Imagine an automated system just cleared a multi-million-dollar wire transfer,
Right.
and it cleared it for a shell company that's actively fronting, like an international money laundering syndicate.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So the algorithm looked at the data, it ran its complex calculations, and it flagged the whole transaction as perfectly clean.
Which happens all the time now.
Exactly.
Hmm.
But here's the kicker. Your signature is the one on the compliance sign-off.
Oof. Yeah, that's the nightmare scenario.
Right. So when the regulatory bodies inevitably come knocking on the door with, subpoenas in hand, who goes to jail? Is it the machine that made the mistake? Or is it you, the human, who was supposed to be supervising it?
Yeah, that is the million-dollar question.
It really is.
Ugh.
So welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking at this massive tectonic shift in the corporate landscape. We're focusing on a very specific, highly targeted piece of source material today.
We are.
We're examining the official curriculum, the underlying philosophy, and the real-world utility of the ICA Specialist Certificate in AI for Compliance Professionals.
And honestly, it is a critical document to dissect right now.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Because what we're looking at isn't just a syllabus,
Right.
It represents this entire professional discipline, regulatory and financial crime compliance, just reacting in real time to a technological earthquake.
Which is, frankly, terrifying for a lot of people.
It is. But the source makes it abundantly clear who this is actually for. It's targeting professionals who already understand anti-money laundering laws, KYC protocols, corporate governance.
So they know the basics.
Exactly. They know the old rules, but suddenly they're staring down this entirely new frontier of risk. It's about equipping them to ask the right questions, basically.
Okay, let's unpack this, because if you are listening to this, you already know the stakes in your industry, right?
Yeah, you live it every day.
You know that AI is taking over the heavy lifting in these corporate environments. But I'm looking at this massive shift, and it seems like compliance officers are no longer just allowed to be legal experts.
No, not at all.
They're being forced to act as, amateur data scientists.
That's a great way to put it.
And that seems incredibly risky. Why is understanding the internal logic of an artificial intelligence suddenly a mandatory requirement, especially for someone whose primary job is just enforcing corporate rules?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, it's about the shift from traditional rule following to managing totally unpredictable behavior.
Unpredictable behavior.
Yeah, because think about traditional corporate software, right? Traditional compliance was all about managing human behavior against static laws using rules-based tech.
Like, if X happens, do Y.
Exactly. If a transaction is over $10,000, flag it. If it comes from a sanctioned country, block it.
It's binary.
Completely binary.
Yeah.
But when you deploy an AI system to monitor transactions or approve credit lines, you are no longer dealing with simple rules.
Right, because it's learning.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're unleashing a dynamic, predictive system that adapts and changes its own behavior based on the data it consumes.
So instead of following a strict set of instructions, it's like making judgment calls.
That is the crucial difference. The compliance professional is suddenly acting as the bridge between technical AI development and legal risk.
Because the software engineers don't know the laws.
Right. The IT department knows how to build the algorithm, but they rarely understand the intricate nuances of, say, international anti-money laundering directives.
Yeah, they're coders, not lawyers.
Exactly. And conversely, the compliance officer knows the law inside and out, but historically hasn't understood how a predictive model assigns a risk score, which is why having the confidence to question AI outputs is their new superpower.
Which perfectly explains a really specific piece of the ICA course materials.
Oh, the fireside chat.
Yes. The syllabus highlights this fireside chat featuring Robin Lee, who's an AI industry leader, and Pekka Dare, the president of the ICA.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
It is. They're sitting down together to discuss this exact collision of financial crime and AI. When you have the president of a major global compliance association hosting a direct dialogue with a tech leader, it sends a very clear message.
It really does.
This is not just a niche IT project anymore.
No, it signals the absolute merging of these two disciplines.
Yeah.
Because you just cannot regulate a technology that you don't fundamentally understand.
Right.
And on the flip side, the tech industry can't successfully deploy their products if they continually violate international financial regulations. That chat in the curriculum, that represents the exact conversation that needs to be happening in every single corporate boardroom right now.
Okay, so acknowledging that the stakes are this high, that a single algorithmic blind spot can trigger a massive regulatory fine, how do we actually train a human to spot a mathematical flaw?
Well, that's where the course structure comes in.
Yeah, looking at the ICA's curriculum, what is the actual mechanism for teaching this?
The source material structures this training across 4 deliberate modules. It was authored by an industry expert, and it moves really logically from theory to practice.
Okay, so what's the first step?
It begins with a foundational introduction to AI, just the basics. Then it moves into AI in RegTech.
RegTech, meaning regulatory technology.
Exactly. Focusing on how these tools are actually deployed in the field.
Mm.
And then from there, it tackles ethical considerations and possible dilemmas.
Ah,
And finally, it brings the entire framework together with a module on how AI and compliance can work together, which is essentially the practical integration phase.
I noticed they also make a point to highlight real-world application.
Yeah, they lean heavily on case studies.
Right, they feature testimonials from past learners. One student specifically praised the course's insights on the, quote, pitfalls and challenges of the technology and the collaboration between the AI industry and other sectors.
Which is key.
Yeah, but here's where it gets really interesting because I have to push back on this syllabus a little bit.
Oh, in what way?
Well, I look at that third module, the one on ethical considerations and possible dilemmas, and it sounds incredibly soft.
Soft. How do you mean?
Well, put yourself in the shoes of a seasoned compliance officer at a major international bank, right? You're dealing with active fraud.
Sure.
You're trying to stop money laundering syndicates and intercept terrorist financing. A module on ethical dilemmas sounds like an elective course you take in a university philosophy department.
I see where you're going with this.
Right. Are we just sitting around pondering the nature of machine consciousness? I hear you saying this course is practical, but give me a concrete example. Is this actually practical for someone trying to stop financial crime?
What's fascinating here is that this is the exact friction point that trips up a lot of traditional compliance teams.
Really?
Yes, because in the context of corporate compliance, ethics is not philosophy. Ethics is hard, quantifiable risk mitigation.
Okay, walk me through that.
Let's look at the heavy emphasis the syllabus places on RegTech. Financial institutions are increasingly deploying AI to scan customers and monitor transaction behaviors.
Yeah, to flag suspicious activities faster.
Exactly. Now, the AI learns from historical data. Let's say a bank feeds its new AI 10 years of past loan approval data to teach the system how to evaluate credit risk.
Okay, so the machine analyzes a decade of human decisions to learn the patterns of a safe investment.
Correct. But what if those historical human decisions were flawed?
Oh.
What if the loan officers over the past decade held unconscious biases and statistically denied loans to certain demographics or specific postal codes at a disproportionate rate?
The machine doesn't know that's wrong.
Exactly. The AI does not know what a demographic is. It doesn't understand racism or prejudice. It only sees a mathematical pattern that says people from this postal code equal high risk.
Wow. So it just optimizes for that pattern.
Yes. It scales that bias instantly. Suddenly, the bank's automated system is denying credit to thousands of qualified applicants based on an inherited historical bias.
And when the regulators audit that bank, they do not care that a machine made the calculation.
Not at all.
They only care that the bank is actively violating fair lending laws. And the human compliance officer is the one who signed off on deploying the system.
That is exactly the mechanism of the liability. The bank faces millions of dollars in fines, immense reputational damage, and the compliance officer is held accountable.
Because they should have caught it.
Right. The regulators will sit across the table and ask, how did you oversee and test this predictive model? And if your defense is, well, we didn't think about the ethical bias of our historical training data.
You've completely failed in your role as a risk manager.
Exactly. So the syllabus focuses on these ethical dilemmas because understanding the blind spots of how an AI learns is literally the only way you prevent catastrophic corporate failures. A biased AI is, by definition, a non-compliant AI.
Man, that changes the calculus completely. The ethics module isn't about teaching corporate officers to be good people.
No, it's about survival.
It's about teaching them how to not get their company sued into oblivion because their lightning-fast, morally blank AI coworker made a discriminatory mathematical calculation based on bad data.
And that underscores why past students praise the focus on pitfalls and challenges. They aren't talking about philosophical debates. They're talking about learning how to audit a mathematical model that is subtly and quietly breaking the law thousands of times a second.
That is
It
wild.
leads directly into the fourth module, too,
Hmm.
how AI and compliance can work together. Once you understand how a data bias translates into a strict legal liability, you have to design a tangible workflow to stop it.
All right, you've totally convinced me that the material is vital and deeply grounded in reality. But let's pivot to the logistics of this because we have to talk about the reality of the listener's life.
Sure, the practical application.
Yeah, because you are a working professional. You have a demanding day job, endless meetings, personal responsibilities. How does a busy professional actually absorb this complex framework? And more importantly, how do they prove to their employer that they possess this specific knowledge?
Well, the ICA source material outlines a structure that is fundamentally designed for working adults. It is entirely self-paced.
Okay, so no mandatory weekly lectures.
Right. The curriculum notes that the material can be completed in as little as 4 weeks, but learners are given access to the platform for up to 2 months.
So it gives you a definitive window to create some urgency, but you dictate your own study schedule.
Exactly.
Then we get to the assessment. To earn the designation, you take a 1-hour online multiple choice exam. You can take this exam at any point during your studies.
And you receive your results immediately.
Right, and if you pass, you get a downloadable certificate, and it also awards 20 CPD continuing professional development hours.
Which is huge for maintaining compliance credentials.
It is. Now, let's talk about the actual investment. The course fees vary slightly depending on your location, but you're generally looking at an initial cost of around £730, €803, or roughly $949.
But there is a secondary requirement here.
There is. If you are not already an existing member of the ICA, there's a mandatory 12-month membership fee that is automatically added to your basket at checkout,
Right, which is about £185 or $241.
which brings the total financial investment to nearly $1,200 plus taxes. They do mention group booking discounts are available, which makes total sense if an entire compliance department needs to get up to speed simultaneously.
Yeah, a lot of banks do that.
But let's go back and examine that assessment format for a moment. So what does this all mean? Because this is another area where I'm highly skeptical.
The exam format.
Yes. We just spent the last 10 minutes diving into the profound, deeply nuanced ethical dilemmas of machine learning, the mechanism of inherited data bias, the massive regulatory risks of autonomous systems,
Yeah.
and the ultimate test of all that knowledge is a 1-hour multiple choice exam. Can a multiple choice test really capture the complexity of a neural network making millions of decisions a minute? It seems absurdly inadequate.
This raises an important question about the nature of modern professional certification itself.
Right.
Can a multiple choice question truly capture the complexity of a predictive algorithm drifting out of its regulatory parameters?
Oh.
Of course it cannot.
So why do it this way?
Because framing it that way misinterprets the purpose of the examination. The exam is not designed to test deep philosophical nuance or advanced data science.
Okay.
It is designed to verify a crucial, standardized baseline of specialist knowledge. It proves to an employer or to a government regulator that you understand the specific terminology, you know the legal frameworks, and you're aware of the established best practices.
Ah, I see. It provides the floor, not the ceiling.
That is the perfect way to phrase it. It establishes the baseline competency. But if you analyze the source material closely, the true value proposition of this financial investment isn't the 1-hour exam.
It isn't.
No, it isn't even the downloadable certificate. The real asset you are acquiring is the ongoing ecosystem.
You're talking about the mandatory membership side of the equation.
Yes. That mandatory membership fee isn't just an administrative add-on. It unlocks entry into an international community of over 30,000 compliance professionals.
Oh, wow. 30,000.
Yeah. It grants you access to a uniquely personalized ICA learning hub. And crucially, it provides weekly webinars that dissect the absolute latest industry developments, along with discounts on future events.
Which makes sense because AI is changing so fast.
Exactly. It is an industry that is literally evolving week by week. A static, published course is practically outdated the moment it goes live.
Because that lightning fast coworker we talked about earlier, they are getting a software update every single week.
Yes.
They're learning new capabilities, accessing new data streams, and finding new ways to potentially break the law.
Exactly. The 20 CPD hours and the access to those weekly webinars are where the actual ongoing education happens. You are paying for the baseline framework through the certificate, but you are truly investing in a dynamic network.
A network that keeps you updated as the tech morphs.
Right. That's what the source material means when it talks about increasing professional agility. It's not about memorizing a static list of AI rules in a binder. It's about plugging into a global community that is actively solving these unprecedented problems in real time.
So, to pull all of this together and kind of recap the journey we've taken today, AI is not just a shiny new productivity tool for the IT department.
Definitely not.
It is fundamentally rewriting the laws of compliance, corporate governance, and financial crime.
Yeah.
The shift from managing predictable human behavior to overseeing unpredictable autonomous machine logic is jarring.
It's a total paradigm shift.
Yeah,
Correct.
it requires a completely new vocabulary.
Yeah.
But structured, targeted frameworks like the four-module ICA syllabus we've been exploring offer a tangible, practical way forward.
They really do.
They provide a clear path to transition from feeling totally overwhelmed by the speed of machine learning to actually having the confidence to manage its risks. It trains you to ask the right questions, to interrogate the training data, and to spot the hidden liabilities.
Before they metastasize into corporate disasters.
Yeah.
It is entirely about moving a compliance department from a reactive stance to a proactive stance.
Right.
You are no longer just the person at the end of the line enforcing the rules. You're actively involved at the beginning, ensuring the systems that automate the business are compliant by design.
Which is such a critical shift.
It is. But looking at the rapid trajectory of this technology, I want to leave you with a final thought to ponder.
Oh, okay. Lay it on me.
We have spent this entire deep dive talking about the current objective: training human compliance officers to oversee AI, to check its logic, and to regulate its outputs.
Humans managing machines. That is the current paradigm.
But as AI systems become infinitely more complex, processing data at speeds we can barely comprehend, and become deeply integrated into the invisible plumbing of the global financial sector,
Yeah.
will we inevitably reach a breaking point? Will we hit a threshold where human compliance officers simply cannot process the data fast enough to spot the anomalies?
Oh, man.
Will the future of this industry require us to build highly specialized compliance AIs, machines whose sole dedicated purpose is to audit, interrogate, and regulate the operational AIs?
A robot to watch the robot.
Exactly. And if we reach that point, the ultimate question becomes, who audits the compliance AI?
Oh, that is a wild thought. A whole ecosystem of machines just continuously checking each other's homework at the speed of light while we just stand on the sidelines hoping the parameters hold.
Pretty much.
It really makes you realize that the frontier we are standing on right now is just the very beginning of the transition. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive. The corporate risk landscape is mutating faster than ever before, but as long as you keep interrogating the mechanisms behind the technology, you'll be ready for whatever comes next. Keep exploring, and we'll catch you next time.